Okay, now you're far enough along in kind of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu journey, or at least you should be. Maybe you're watching these all at once, and if that's the case, I would probably reference this later, or it's an idea for you to think of. But not taking everything, and we mentioned this a bunch of times during the lesson or the course, really taking the larger areas, say, guard passing, things like that, and then dissecting them into smaller chunks and really working on those smaller chunks. So you shouldn't, what I'm saying is say, go out there and I'm going to work better on guard passing or, things like that. You should be a little bit more specific. I'm going to work on, half guard passes, or I'm going to work on open guard passes, or, even more specific, I'm going to work on pressure passes today from open guard, or I'm going to work on backstep passes, for the next 2 or 3 weeks from them trying to do a berimbolo or something like that. Just really, if you can think about taking that and dissecting it. A lot of times when people start, they say, okay, I want to learn, one, they want to learn everything, and then two, once they figure out that they can't learn everything all at once, they try to break it down into smaller sections, but it's still not a lot of times small enough to see a sizable change. So in other words, what I'm looking for is, like I said, those small little things to where you can work on it for 2 or 3 weeks and see a big change. So if I'm going to be working on like a Adolfo Vieira pressure pass style from open guard, I'm going to work on that, for 2 or 3 weeks in my off time. And as I start to work on that, I can see it actually getting better and being able to do it in practice, rather than just saying, okay, I'm going to be better at guard passing. And then, like I said, once I've kind of got that small subset down, boom, I can knock that off the list. I kind of have a good idea on it, and then I can move on to another one. I don't have to continue working that. As long as I have a decent idea about it, I can kind of move on to the next thing. And you'll see that those, as you start to master how to break down those small things, each one of them will get easier and easier and easier. You should find yourself taking less time. If you took 3 weeks to really get this concept, as long as the other concept isn't that much harder, you should be able to get that one done in in a lesser time than what you've done before. So really think about how you can start to break down larger groups into smaller subsets. So I think one reference that I used before is, instead of doing takedowns, think about judo takedowns, or maybe even more specific, I'm going to work on underhook takedowns, things like that. So really try to dissect it as much as possible. That's where you're going to see the biggest gain, because it's a smaller section of grappling.